Football just told us everything. The NFL Divisional Round showed us which franchises are built to last and which ones are just built on hope and excuses. The college football playoff crowned a champion reminded us that culture and leadership still win. And now, a third of the NFL is trying to copy success overnight. Because this league changes directions in 1 week, one hire can change a franchise for 10 years, one bad hire can set you back 5. Tonight, we're breaking down the NFL Coaching Carousel, who's making the smart moves, who's already panicking, and which teams are about to get this completely wrong. Welcome back to the Cincinnati Sports Scene Podcast. I'm Dave. That's Sam. If you love smart football conversations without the hype, without all the hot take and nonsense, without the national media bias, you're in the right place. This is what Cincy Sports Scene is now. Honest, direct, and nationally relevant with Midwest credibility. Tonight is the big one. We're going to touch on what the NFL Divisional Round has taught us about real coaching. We'll hit the college football playoff championship and why every NFL owner is watching it closely. And then we'll dive head first into the chaos, the NFL Coaching Carousel. Which jobs are actually good? Which ones are career killers? Which hires make sense? And which ones already feel like a panic move? Because right now, some franchises are building and some are just guessing faster than before. Let's get into it. Episode number 160 of Cincinnati Sports Scene. All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate everybody who has watched here in the last couple of weeks. Sam is back with us tonight. We've got a really good one for you, the Coaching Carousel. But first, we do want to give a couple of recaps on our NFL Divisional Round. And basically, the purpose of this is establishing coaching relevance. So let's take a look, Sam, at which games do you think proved that coaching mattered the most?
Yeah, the first one that jumps out is the Rams-Bears game. Just McVay and Johnson going back and forth in that chess match.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps when Caleb Williams can just make spectacular plays.
That is true.
But, I mean, Ben Johnson's one of the best play callers, and McVay has been for the 10 years he's been a head coach. He's been up there as well. And so just to see them go back and forth, I mean, a close game, a great game, just the back and forth, both of those coaches. I mean, you can tell both of those coaches are guys that are going to be, I mean, obviously McVay's been around, but Ben Johnson's going to be around for a long time as well. You can just tell.
Yeah. I think you hit that on the head right there with the coaching matters. They elevated the team. And even if you listen to McVay afterwards, right, he will say that in spite of him, the team won because he made some bonehead decisions is what he said. But, this leads us to the next one. Like, the one coach who elevated his team the most, I'm going to say Vrabel. I just think you look at that Patriots team and what they did in that game where, their offense wasn't clicking. Their defense was stout. And that's a Mike Vrabel style, right? That's how he played when he was a Patriot, how he coached in Tennessee, right? He takes a Patriot team that was 4-13 last year, turns around 14-3. I think his team reflects who he is. And, that's a good quality when your team buys in and he can elevate them by the sheer motivation and just his presence and his belief. That's who I think elevates. Who do you think elevated their team more than just,
I agree with you on Vrabel. Also, Mike McDonald. Yeah, McDonald out in Seattle.
Yeah.
I mean, they just put a butt whooping on the Niners. I know the Niners, a bunch of injuries and all of that, but I mean, Shanahan's one of the better coaches, and that was masterclass, especially defensively. I mean, he's a defensive guy. And I mean, he brought the Legion of Boom back to Seattle, and he's elevated them all year. And Sam Darnold doesn't have to do anything. I mean, he can go out there with a bad oblique, and as long as he doesn't have 5 turnovers and shoot with that defense, even if he does, they still have a chance.
They still have a chance, yeah. Yeah, I like that.
He's got his fingerprints all over the defense, all over the team. It's similar to Vrabel, defensive guy.
Mm-hmm.
I know he wasn't the player Vrabel was, but defensive guys all have that toughness. Like you just have to be on that side of the ball.
Oh, excuse me.
And he shows that.
Yeah, he sure does. Yeah, the Legion of Boom. That'd be a great Super Bowl between those two. Okay, one coach who cost his team, if any. I mean,
I don't want to say that any really did, but I'm going to go with D'Amico Ryan just because his quarterback played the worst. I mean, CJ Stroud was awful, and it sucks because he's a defensive guy, and that defense is great, and kept them in the game even with those 5 turnovers. So I mean, it's tough to say that he did, but I mean, you got to do something with the offense though too. I mean, I don't know if it's a quarterback change, or if you just completely, I don't know what it is, but I mean that kind of falls on the head coach to try and figure that out though too. And I mean, even in the first round, Stroud was not very good. They kind of just squeaked it out. I mean, he had 7 turnovers in 2 games in the playoffs, plus 2 more fumbles that he recovered. So I mean, that's tough.
I agree. I texted all my Buckeye fans, right, and said, "Typical Ohio State quarterback."
Yeah,
the league figured him out, and he can't make the adjustments. So it's kind of funny. Now he has gone downhill since his rookie year, but that happens in this league. You got to be able to make the adjustments. I like that, but the other one, if you want to talk about turnovers as well, is the Buffalo Bills, McDermott.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, obviously he got the axe right after a day after the game. I mean, that's why he got the axe, because he wasn't getting the team over the hump. But we'll talk about what Buffalo needs to do when we get into our coaching carousel. But at the same time, I just think that I don't know, he just relied too much on Josh Allen to make the plays and
be Superman.
Yeah, and we've seen it before with Josh, that he's prone to turning the football over when the pressure gets really intense. And we broke it down last week for you all. If you haven't seen that episode, please check that out. But we talked about, the pressure was on Josh Allen because none of the great quarterbacks in the AFC was in the playoffs, and this was his time to shine, and he didn't. And somebody has to take the goat, or the fall, I should say, and it wasn't going to be Allen. They were going to cut loose McDermott. So we'll see what happens in Buffalo. So that's who I'm going with.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
So speaking of coaches and teams that exemplify them, the college football playoffs on Monday night, that brought me back to the glory days of college football when I watched it in the 80s and early 90s. I mean, 2 great teams going against each other. It was a little sluggish in the beginning where, they were throwing jabs at each other, but then all of a sudden, boom, a hammer comes out, response, hammer, and then the better team won. Like we said, it was IU who didn't hurt themselves, whereas Miami committed too many penalties and too many turnovers, block punt, and Beck's turnover at the very end.
Yeah.
To me, the championship revealed, like the leadership of Cingetti and the culture he was trying to build at IU. That discipline, do your job, don't beat yourself. That style wins games. Thoughts on the college football championship and Cingetti, Cristobal's leadership culture?
I mean, they both have established the culture that they've wanted for their programs. I mentioned that last week, but I mean, they both have. I mean, Cignetti's no nonsense. We're not going to beat ourselves. If we lose, it's because the other team's going to beat us. I mean, they don't turn the ball over. They had a fumble in their first game, and that was it. The rest of the 15 games, they did not lose a fumble. And I mean, Mendoza maybe had a couple picks all year.
I think four or 5.
So they had like 5 turnovers all year. Like I think they had as many defensive touchdowns as they had turnovers themselves. So I mean, you're going to just win a lot of games by default when you don't turn the ball over. But then they're also smash mouth. They still have some plays that they can go to make the back shoulder fades that they were throwing. I mean, there's nothing anybody on Miami could do. I mean, great coverage, but when you're in man and your back's turned, back shoulder fade, if it's placed perfectly, there's nothing you can do about it. There's just not. And Mendoza hit a couple of those, and then, I mean, he had that great quarterback draw on the 4th and 5 that, I mean, sealed the game. So
great run, gutsy call by, I mean, the 2 fourth down calls were gutsy, right? I mean,
Yeah.
kick a field goal, play it safe, close to the vest. But no, this is what that leadership does. Hey, we came here to win, and we are going to win. We believe we're going to put it in our players' best hands, and that's what happens, right? Your best players need to make the plays when it matters most, and that translates across football, high school, college, the NFL. And I think looking at this game, I wonder how many. I know Cingetti just signed a big contract with IU. I wonder how many NFL coaches or owners would love to have this guy running his sideline.
He said he wasn't going.
No, he's not. He's not going. Right.
I'm sure there's a couple. But he seems like a Pittsburgh Steelers coach. I mean, he just does.
He's from Pittsburgh, right? I mean, he's from Pittsburgh.
True. Yeah. Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah, he would be a Pittsburgh Steeler. I mean, good guy. I would not want him in the AFC North, though.
No,
put him somewhere else. But so why are NFL teams obsessed with this so-called next guy from college? I mean, you see it all over the place. They want that next guy. Why do you think they're obsessed with that? Or do you?
I mean, I think they are because they want to be seen as innovators, even though they're not. They're not the ones innovating anything, but they own the team. I mean, we know how egotistical these billionaires are. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Ravens owner, I can't think of his name right now, his press conference after they fired Harbaugh. I mean, just the arrogance that came off. Like, I don't care about the Ravens, but I watched that press conference and I wanted to punch that dude in the face. I mean, just but that's just how those guys think. So they think if they get the next guy, they're starting this new innovation and, they can force feed themselves all of this credit. I think that plays into it more than anything. I really do.
Yeah.
And if you pull the guy out of college, that just boosts it even more because it's not a pro guy. There's always that. Do the college guys really work out? It's
and
mixed
you can
results.
Right. Yeah. And you can look back over history and that's the danger, right? Of confusing somebody that has college dominance. Are they NFL ready? Cingetti, I think he could win anywhere. I just think he could.
I think so too.
Maybe not Cleveland, but I think he can win anywhere.
Well, all right. Yeah. I don't know. He wanted IU. Maybe he could win.
Well, that is true. But you had money pumping in, or the owner. Well, I mean, the owners paid. For Watson.
Right. It's not like Cleveland doesn't spend money. They're not the Brown family. They're just
they're not. Yeah, he might not be able to win.
Yeah.
In Cincinnati. No, he can win in Cincinnati. But I just don't. I think there has been more college coaches that have failed in the NFL than have been successful. I can't think of.
I mean, I'd say Harbaugh's been successful.
Yeah, but
I would say he has, but not
to the success of like his brother.
Right. No, you're right.
I mean, I forgot Harbaugh was with San Francisco too. So I mean, he was pretty successful.
Yeah.
Saban
he's
wasn't.
Probably, yeah, but the Dolphins are very similar to the Browns. You have bad ownership.
Yeah, I guess.
It's especially back then, back in the mid 2000s. I mean, that was a previous owner. That was a clown show in Miami. So I mean, that would have been, and he was 500. It's people act like he was
horrible,
Dick LeBeau, but I mean, he was a 500 coach. So I mean, not
that
great,
is true.
but you think you're going to get Drew Brees, and you get stuck with Dante Culpepper. I can throw a wrench.
Throw a monkey wrench. Yeah, exactly.
And then he realized, I'm not in charge of the players, so I'm going to go back to where it was, and you saw what happened.
Yep.
But I don't think that college guys, especially if they didn't play themselves in the pros, I think it's tough for them to have success.
I agree. And, they're used to controlling everything. It's not so much anymore. And I think moving forward, you might find that.
Here's the thing, though. I think the most successful programs, those coaches still have almost full control.
Well, but I'm just talking with the new NIL portal.
Yeah, no, I know.
Right.
I mean,
free agency, I guess they can handle that because back when Saban left the first time from LSU, I mean, yes, the SEC was the only schools paying their players, but under the table allegedly. So, but he controlled that. Now in this new era of college football where, the portal is just like free agency, players are getting money. Sometimes they're making more than the coach. And that's just like the NFL. So how do you handle that? And I think if you start seeing these coaches doing that, they might then be looked at as, hey, a possible candidate for a head coaching opportunity. That's all I'm saying with that.
Yep. No, I would agree with that.
All right. And this brings us to the chaos of the NFL carousel. There are, as of Wednesday night here, January, what are we coming at? January 21st at 7:30. There are 7 or 6 openings in the NFL. There was 10 at one time. So the Giants, Falcons, Dolphins, and Titans all got their head coaches. So Harbaugh to the Giants, Stefanski to the Falcons, Hafley to the Dolphins, and Saleh to the Titans. My question to you, Sam, is why are there so many openings?
That's a good question. It seems higher than normal. I feel like we usually get 6 or so, around there, maybe 5, maybe 7.
Yeah, they said that
10 seems pretty high.
10, I think it was 2020 might have been, or 2021 was the last, or 2022 was the last time that there was 10. And that was,
so 4 years ago.
So 4 years ago. Before that, you had to go way back to find 10. So
I think, in some of these teams' cases, they have the star quarterback, but they underperformed. And, lack of playoff success with the star quarterback, with MVP quarterbacks, to be specific. In 2 cases, you don't get a long leash unless you're Zach Taylor for whatever reason. So I think that had to do with at least 2 firings. The Browns, just pencil them in. I know Stefanski was there for 5 years or whatever, but you can just pencil them in to fire a coach for no reason every 2-3 years, generally speaking. The Titans are maybe the worst run franchise, right? Their owner has no idea what she's doing, just hires random people to be their GM. They fire a guy, and then they say, oh, we want a defensive-minded, tough head coach. But you had that dude 2 years ago, and you fired him.
Right.
So you're going to bring in somebody who's has head coach experience and sucked at it for that purpose. I think there's a lot of bad owners out there, and I think there's a lot of impatient owners as well. And so, I think this year you just kind of have all 3 of those scenarios just pushed together. And so I think every 3 or 4 years we're gonna see 10, 11 head coach jobs open.
Yeah, I think that I agree. I think the panic culture, right? Everybody, you're a preseason favorite to win the Super Bowl and you don't make it out of the divisional round. Coach, something has to be wrong. Coach, GM, we're not getting rid of the quarterback. Like you said, the quarterback dependency. This league is quarterback driven. If you don't have a very good quarterback, you're going to get, or if your quarterback you have a decent quarterback, but he just plays poorly, you're probably going to not get a long leash. And like you said, the owners, they're just not patient. Fans aren't patient. No one's patient anymore to build a team and, progress. And it's kind of funny that, and I guess it's just this this quarterback driven league, free agency signing, trying to get a Super Bowl team within that first 5 years of the quarterback on his rookie contract. Because once, he gets up there, we're seeing it, right, with all these other teams. You look at the Bills, Josh Allen's, the Ravens, their defenses have taken a step back because the money is going to the offense. Same thing with the Bengals. And I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like you said, it's tough to be a coach in the NFL, but there's always going to be people wanting the job because there's only 30 of them, right?
Well, 32, but
32. 32 of them. So we're gonna be tiering the open jobs here. So we have the remaining teams. We have the Oakland Raiders, the Buffalo Bills, the Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, and the St. Louis, the Arizona Cardinals. Wrong sport, wrong year. But we're going to tier the jobs into 3 categories: dream jobs, risk, rewards. So high risk, high reward job, and career killers. You go there, you're probably, if you don't win, you're probably never getting a head coaching job again. And we'll talk about what type of hiring are they doing. Is it a rebuilder Do they want somebody to come in and rebuild the team? Is it somebody with a quarterback ready to contend? Or is it just a desperate franchise that they don't know what the heck they're doing and they just are making changes to make the change? Okay. So you got that? What we're trying to do? All right. So let's take a look at these 6 openings. Let's look at dream job. Which of the 6 would be considered a dream job for you?
To me, there's 2. No,
Okay.
I don't know if that's cheating. If you want me to do one, I will.
Just do one. Just do one.
Right.
Just do one.
One, I'm going to go with the Ravens. So to me, it's between the Ravens and Bills. But one, I think Ravens front office is a little better than the Bills. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Bills owner's press conference today.
Mm-mm.
It was, I mean, he pretty much threw Keon Coleman, or second-round pick from last year, under the bus, saying that was purely a McDermott pick, whereas they have it on video, their GM, who just got a promotion, by the way, celebrating like how excited they are that they have the opportunity to pick this guy because, you know, he ran a 4.5, which is a little slower. So he's probably going to fall to them, and how much he wanted him and how he was going to get him no matter what. And then the owner comes out today and says, oh, he had nothing to do with that. He was just being a team player. And, you know, it's, I mean, when you contradict yourself like that, and I mean, your roster clearly had flaws, and then you promote the guy that built it to fire the head coach. There's a lot of stuff coming out of there that doesn't, you know, sound pleasant. Whereas with the Ravens, it just kind of 5 straight playoff failures, didn't even make the playoffs this year. You have the MVP. It was just time for a move. It wasn't because they hated Harbaugh or anything like that. I think that's why I lean Ravens as my top choice.
Yeah. I mean, just for sake of content, Ravens were my choice, but I would probably go with another division rival. It hates, you know, I don't even want to say it, but Pittsburgh. And the only reason I would say Pittsburgh is because of the stability.
Yeah, you get 20 years.
You know, I mean, 4 coaches since 69. I mean, come on now. They're not going to fire you if you have one bad year.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to.
Well, to be fair, we don't know. They haven't had a bad year in a long time.
They haven't. You are correct. But you know, that's another reason why I would say, you know, Baltimore, just because of the stability, the front office, those type of, you know, they've laid that foundation from the get-go. And, you know, the 2 coaches there have been, you know, Brian Billick and Harbaugh. You know, they've been rock solid. And I think the next coach will probably be a mold of that. So yeah, let's look at the risk reward. Which job do you think has the most risk with it, but the highest reward out of the 6?
Most risk, I'm going to go with the Browns, just because if you're not successful, you don't get another head coaching job. And if you go there and after 2 years you get fired from being the Browns head coach, you can kiss that dream of yours goodbye. You will not be a head coach again in this league. On the flip side, if you're there for 5 years like Stefanski and you make it to the playoffs one time, 1, you're the best coach that team's ever had. 2, you're going to get another opportunity with a better, more stable franchise. You know, heaven forbid you get 2 playoffs and you make a little run, they might put a statue in front of their new stadium for you. So, you know, I don't think it's a good job, hence the high risk. But if you are able to be successful, it's the highest reward too. Because I mean, that city will.
Oh yeah,
they're
rally
dying for it.
They are dying for it.
So.
You are correct. They will rally around it. I'm going to go with an AFC West team, the Raiders, because I think they have the highest risk. I mean, you know, Mark Davis, when he took over the team, I mean, he's fired more coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, than his dad did, right? I mean, it's like George Steinbrenner and Billy Martin hired.
He might bring Gruden back at this point.
He might. Yeah, I mean, he might. Who knows? But the risk is just that, right? I mean, you could be a Hall of Fame coach, Pete Carroll, get canned because you have no talent on that team, no quarterback. Mm-hmm. But here's the reward, right? You got the number 1 draft pick. You get Mendoza, who can, you know, stabilize a franchise. His accuracy is, you know, his toughness. People are going to rally around him. He's going to be a leader of Raider Nation. And you get that, you get a couple of pieces here and there. I mean, the reward, boom, you win a Super Bowl, Mark Davis is going to spend the money. I mean, and he's not going to go after, I mean, he'll go after big name players if he can. But the problem is we see it here in Cincinnati where the father who owned the team had a lot more football sense than their sons. And their sons think that they know it because they
think they inherited that too.
Yeah, they inherited that too, and they haven't. Al Davis just win, baby. He just won. Mark, no. Just go to Vegas, and that's where they're at. And that's the other, that's the other thing. I mean, you can move into Vegas, and you're getting all this money. Who knows? So that's my risk reward there. And then a career killer. Which job that is? It could be any of the 10, not just the ones that are open now, but any of the 10 is a career killer.
I still think it's an open one. I think it's the Cardinals. I mean, just because I already used the Browns, but I think it's the Cardinals. Right. I mean, they're kind of, they're out west. They're obscure. They're never good. They have really bad ownership as well. I mean, their ownership is not good. They're pretty cheap. I mean, not, Brown family level cheap, but they're not too far behind. So they're not going to go out and get a big name head coach or big name free agent, even though guys would move to Phoenix. I mean, they just would. I mean, it's warm, no state income tax. Guys would go there if they'd open up their checkbook.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that plays into it. Your quarterback situation's dead. You don't have the number 1 pick this year. You're not, I mean, the number 2 quarterback is who knows who that's going to be as of right now. It seems like nobody wants to be the number 2 quarterback.
It'll be Simpson out of Alabama.
It'll end up being Simpson. And if you look historically, guys that only start 1 year do not pan out in the NFL. They just, it doesn't work. So, I mean, you're a dead man walking if you take that job.
Right.
I really think so.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably say, man, there's a couple of them there.
There are. And Tennessee's Tennessee's up there too. I was going to say
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Vrabel has won there.
Yeah. It is possible in part because that division is, I mean, it's the most, I don't know how to describe it. It's the most year to year just
chaos.
Who knows? I mean, yeah, exactly.
I mean, the Dolphins, I mean, that could be a great job. The Falcons seems to be, I mean, I don't know about that. I would probably lean, I mean, I liked your Cardinals pick, but I would probably say, I mean, here's the thing. If the Bills, whoever they hire, if it's a bad fit, Josh Allen's, he could, not play well, and they just don't. That Bills job could be really bad because it was really bad for a long time.
Yeah,
from the 90s, once Marv left, there was that time where they went to 4 straight Super Bowls, 5.
And they didn't make it again until Allen got there in McDermott.
Right. And they to the playoffs. They never made the Super Bowl, but to the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. Just back to the playoffs. Yeah.
Right. So, and if
it's tough to get guys to go up there.
I know they're getting
their ownership's not great.
Going to get a new stadium. I mean, the fans are wonderful, right? I mean, Bills Mafia and stuff. Salute you guys. But I mean, it's like Cleveland. I mean,
it is.
You could be great or it could be a killer. So, I mean, if I had to choose, I would say Tennessee would probably be just the worst out of. I mean, since you took Arizona, I'm going to say Tennessee. All right, so let's move on now to our predictions of people who we think will fit. So, like we said, Harbaugh went to the Giants, Stefanski went to the Falcons, Hafley went to the Dolphins, and Saleh went to the Titans. Out of those 6, and of the names that are out there, and when a head coach who loses his job tells the Browns, sorry,
no,
I'm taking an offensive coordinating position in San Diego instead of your head coaching you. Maybe the Browns might be the worst one on the list, but let's try to play match game here. Match a candidate that we're hearing or who we think might be good with these teams that are open.
Yeah.
So let's start with the Raiders.
Start with the Raiders.
They got the first number 1 pick. Mendoza's going to be that. You got to go with somebody offensive-minded, right?
It's got to be an offensive-minded guy. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not too up to speed with who the next hotshot coordinator is, but I mean that's got to be who their target is, right?
You would think.
I mean, it's
Seattle's coordinator.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Nagy's name's been floating around out there. I don't think he's very
You
good.
can't. Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously, when he was with Chicago, the Bears stunk.
I mean, he made the playoffs his first year, but then it was...
Yeah. And then you look what, now granted, Kansas City this year, the last 2 years with him there.
Right.
Not
as good offensively.
Right.
Just weren't.
So, I mean, I don't know who the
I think it's got to be the hot offensive coordinator, whoever that is.
Who's the...
I think I think it was maybe Jacksonville's offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Jacksonville's offensive coordinator's been
30 or 31, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his name is.
Or do you ring the bell Josh McDaniels again for the fourth time?
Well, him recruiting, right?
He is an OC. He cannot be a head coach anymore. Sorry, Josh.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry.
Grant Udinski is the Jaguars offensive coordinator. That's his name. So Cleveland and Buffalo, it looks like, are showing interest in him.
What about, Dable might be a good fit for the Raiders. I think Dable could be a good fit for the Raiders.
He could. Joe Brady is another name I've seen getting some looks. So I think
Pritchard's getting some looks as offensive coordinator.
Oh, okay.
But he's not. Yeah. As Brian Callahan, I don't think he'll.
No, there's no way.
No. He'll have to go back to an OC.
He'll never get another head coaching job. I don't think so.
Isn't there a Shula out there? Chris Shula, but he's a defensive guy, right?
DC, Rams, DC.
But LA guy.
I've seen his name get buzzed. I don't think the Raiders go defense, though. I think they go with an offensive guy. I think you have to. I just think you have to.
Their best
you bring
coaches,
in a young quarterback, you have to.
Yep, I would think you have to. All right, so let's move on to the Bills then, right? McDermott's gone. Dable's name is out there. Joe Brady is one that's out there.
He interviewed today. I saw that.
Who did? Brady did? Yeah.
Yeah.
They like the Buffalo, Western New York person. McDermott fit that criteria. Dable obviously fits that criteria.
I wouldn't be surprised if they go Dable. I really wouldn't. He had success with Josh Allen when he was the OC there. They were really good when he was the OC.
They were really good, yep.
He made the playoffs with the Giants his first year.
And then
didn't work out after that because,
Daniel Jones wasn't,
right.
Yeah, right.
So if I were them, that's who I would kind of lock on to.
Yeah, I would think that would probably be a good fit. The other fit would have been Stefanski, I think. I think Stefanski with a quarterback, watch out.
I think him and Harbaugh both, if they hadn't already accepted offers, would be gunning for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially Stefanski. Stefanski.
Yep.
I think Harbaugh wanted that kind of control over the team a little bit more. I don't know if Buffalo would have given that to him, but
right. And so let's go to those Browns. Like I said before, McDaniel bolted. He's like, no thing. He probably came up after wearing his little 3/4 capris, saying, "Oh, it's too cold. Yeah. It's too cold up here. I'm going out west." Right? He was Shanahan's guy before he took the job at with the Dolphins. Who are the Browns? Dable. I would, but I don't know if Dable. Obviously Dable, if he can get the Bills job, he'll get the Bills job, right?
Right.
So the Browns either, to me, I think I don't think an offensive guy will go to the Browns because they have no quarterback situation, right? You got Deshaun Watson still there. Shador is not the answer.
Right.
Gabriel's not the answer.
He's definitely not.
Right. So if you're an offensive guru, you're not going there unless. Because
if you think of yourself as one of these offensive gurus, though, I think you wouldn't be opposed to Shador just because he is accurate. He doesn't necessarily have the arm strength or the pocket awareness, but I think you can coach that up or scheme around that. He is an accurate quarterback. He doesn't have accuracy issues. So if you feel like you can scheme around his lack of arm strength, then quick passing game and rely on your run game.
But he's not.
It might be
you
interesting,
have to change him because he's not a quick He's not. I mean, he
But
wants to hold
I
that ball and
think,
throw it deep.
yeah, but I think
Well, who do you think's going to? Who do you think? I mean, do you
it'll
go? I mean,
be a surprising hire.
will it be
It'll be
a
kind of somebody that's not really getting any buzz. Because I don't think anybody that thinks of themselves
Dion?
as a top guy,
Dion?
it's not out of the question. It's really
I
not.
don't think it's out of the question either.
It's
I
not.
really don't.
And the longer their search goes on, the more likely it becomes.
Unless they're waiting on, some of these AFC, NFC championship games,
Right,
then
some
they
of
can
these guys
interview a
that-
couple of the losers, or they want to poach somebody from the Super Bowl winning team, so they have to wait, right? Yeah. Browns, that's an interesting pick. Don't know. It could be one of the runners up for the Bills job. Maybe I don't know if you look for, see, here's the thing. If you're a runner up for the Bills, do you go Browns, Steelers, or Ravens? Because those are the next two we're going to talk about. Steelers, Ravens. Yeah, you got to go Ravens with Lamar, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going with Josh Allen, because you're going there for Josh Allen, I mean, shoot, I think the Ravens job is better than the Bills job.
I do too.
Because of the front office stability.
They don't miss on their draft picks.
They do not miss on their. Yeah. I mean, they've got 60 people out there. I mean, they're the number one team.
Yeah, they got the largest scouting department.
Yeah, compared to ours, we did hire one extra person this year. So, but he has 4 jobs to go with that title.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So let's go to the Ravens. Offensive guy, because Harbaugh wasn't.
No, he was a special teams guy. I don't think
Jesse Minter. I mean, that's the name I'm hearing.
I don't think that they care offense or defense. I think they're going to interview several, from each bucket, and they're going to go with
somebody who fits
who
their
they
culture.
think is the best leader, right? That's what I would say, that they're going to go after the best leader. So Minter's a great name
because he was there. I think he was there, so he knows the culture. He knows.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah. You're right. No, he was.
Yeah, he was at Michigan. I mean, he got hired to Michigan from the staff.
Baltimore.
I think from Baltimore. And then he went to
LA.
Right,
he followed Harbaugh.
Yeah, followed Harbaugh to LA.
That's definitely a name. I don't know if there's anybody really sitting out there that's not currently a coach that they would go after.
Yeah.
Right. I don't see any names. I think Minter would really fit what they do.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Tomlin would too. But
I think Tomlin would too. But that's not.
I don't think that's going to happen. But
no, because the Steelers are not. The Ravens will not give up a draft pick.
Right. To the Steelers.
No. If they do, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked. So, all right. So let's talk about those Steelers. I mean, to me, this was out of them all that are open, this was probably the most shocking one to me, because Tomlin just stepped away. And I know he's from that aspect. As far as the last 3 or 4 years, 9-8, barely squeaking in, because
tied Marvin Lewis for the longest playoff losing streak.
Right, exactly. So the last 7 playoff experiences have not gone the Steeler way. But the Rooneys, they're sort to a fault, loyal like Brown. And the last 3 years, it was quarterback roulette for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they're in the same predicament as the Browns with who's your quarterback, right? And if this is the quarterback-driven league, who's your quarterback? And then what about the defense?
Looking at Mike McCarthy, and if that's the case, Rodgers is staying for another year. Yeah. McCarthy, he would play for McCarthy. 100%.
You think so?
100%.
Because I thought Helm and McCarthy didn't get along there towards the end. That's why McCarthy got out. When I thought that was
maybe, but it's also Aaron Rodgers, who can just completely rewrite history, and in his mind that's not true, and he'd be perfectly fine.
Well, no, he'll go sit in his little yucca hut,
sip some ayahuasca, and he'll be good.
Yeah. All right, so Steelers defensive guy, he's got to be a defensive guy. Flores, that's who I don't want that to happen.
Not at all. Nope.
Because that defense no. I don't want that to happen at all. Gosh, no. But that would be the hire. That would be the perfect fit. I mean, out of any of them, that would be the perfect fit, right?
Yeah. I think that's got to be the direction. I'd be shocked if they don't hire Flores. Yeah. I truly would.
I would too.
I mean, he was there as a coach 2 or 3 years ago before he went to Minnesota.
Was he?
He was like the linebackers coach or something. After he got fired from Miami, I thought Tomlin brought him on for a year or two. I could be wrong.
Well, here's the other piece of that, right? Because he sued the NFL,
right,
over the Rooney Rule.
Yeah.
Right? Can you work? I mean, would the Rooneys hire somebody who sued the NFL over, the founding Rooney? I don't know. I mean,
I think so. I think enough time's passed, and I'm pretty sure that case has been settled or
it has been settled.
But
what I'm saying though, I mean, wounds heal, but how deep is that wound, right?
Well, I mean, if he was coaching there, I don't think
he was coaching there, yes, then there wouldn't be an issue. But I didn't think he was. I didn't think he.
Yeah, he was. There. He was their linebackers coach. He was their linebackers coach for 2 years.
Well, then I stand corrected.
Sorry, just for 1 year, but still, yeah, he was their linebackers coach.
Okay, I stand corrected. So
yeah, I mean that's a lock.
That's probably it. All right, and that leads us to our last one. The Arizona Cardinals. No, they'll get somebody. What about?
They'll get somebody, but it'll be somebody like, who was that Dolphins and Jets coach? It'd be Gase. They'll get some retread who hasn't coached in 3 years, and just,
Rex Ryan's coming out of retirement.
Rex Ryan.
Maybe, right?
Yeah,
right.
It'll be somebody like that.
Because his name was floated around Buffalo.
Was he already there, though? Wasn't he there before McDermott?
He was.
I thought he went to Buffalo after the Jets.
Did he? He might have went to Buffalo. Yeah, and
I think he did.
I think you're right. But that's just, that's the type of persona that they want, right? That
Marvin Lewis. They're good. Marvin Lewis. He's already the Cardinals, there, I think.
Yeah, they might.
Or Edwards, they might.
I was going to say they might go, the college route, another Arizona guy, but Dillingham from Arizona State, right? He's right there.
But see, the issue with the Cardinals,
if Pete Carroll wants to coach, that might be a good fit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if
the Cardinals issue, it's similar to the Bengals. They're not going to pay their head coach top dollar.
No, they're not. They're not. But somebody like a Pete Carroll doesn't need the money.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's why I think it's going to be somebody who's
up and coming.
Who's not up and coming, because they don't want to kill their career.
Well,
it's not going to be an established guy who wants money. It's going to be.
It's going to be a quarterback coach. It's going to be a quarterback coach from Nebraska, like Zach Taylor.
Right,
like
yes.
whoever wins the Super Bowl, right? Whoever wins the Super Bowl, they're going to, especially if it's the McVay tree, they're going to pluck the quarterback coach or the offensive coordinator.
Whoever's available, the highest ranking assistant coach that's available.
Yeah, come to Arizona. It's warm. Those type of things. So let's go. Speaking of the Bengals, let's go to the Bengals here. Since we are, Cincinnati sports scene here, we've talked a lot about the Bengals this year. A couple things that we can look at this 10-team hiring frenzy, and we could say, stability matters. Like the Bengals are very stable. It matters. Like a couple of these teams had stability. The Steelers, the Ravens, even the Bills, right?
Even the Bills.
Yeah. Had a lot of stability. So my question is, taking the Cincinnati angle, and I know it was the running joke and the meme. It's like the only coach in the AFC that probably should have been fired wasn't. Right. But looking at this chaos now, I mean, stability matters. Why does it matter here for the Bengals? And then what can these franchises that fire their coach every 2-3 years, Titans, Cardinals, Browns, what can they learn from this?
That's tough. I think it's, from a fan perspective,
it's frustrating.
Stability's
it's
overrated.
When we're talking about the Bengals, it's frustrating.
It's overrated. I'd almost wish the Browns had a little more, the Browns had a little more Cleveland Brown ownership in them. We're a little less patient. I think on the front end, it's perfectly fine. You can take 2 or 3 years to build your team up. It's once you're there, and we've seen you get there, and we've seen you do it again the next year, that when you fall off 3 straight years and get worse each of those 3 straight years to still be around. I mean, we've seen, most coaches, they go up, they kind of plateau, and when they fall off, they don't get back up again. It's very rare for that to happen. So the stability of Zach Taylor's fallen off, it's overrated at this point. Three years is a legitimate fall off.
And I will say this with Zach Taylor, the fall off, a lot of that from the fans' perspective. Yes, we're unhappy with Zach because he's the head coach. And we're 9-8 with Burrow in his prime years. Burrow was hurt. The offense to me was clicking, even with Flacco. It was the defensive side of the ball, right? Towards the last 4 games when Burrow came back, the defense played well, played better. And that, all Bengals fans were like, no, because now there's hope. See, these guys they're starting. It's finally starting to click. No, it's not. Spend some damn money, get some players in here, get some first string players in here, not people who we fit. I think they're going to be a good locker room presence. They're not going to blah, blah, blah. Back in the 90s, Mike Brown took anybody. He was the redeemer. He thought he could redeem anybody that had a checkered past. Now it's like, no, we got to have, choir boys in there who can't tackle. They don't want to stick their nose in.
Not the last 2 years.
Well,
with Burton and Taylor Britt.
Well, that is true. But I mean, you go back. Right. You go back.
Those guys are different. Yeah, those guys weren't serving legitimate jail time.
Exactly. I mean,
I guess Cam Taylor Britt did serve jail time.
Well, yeah.
Not years in prison,
but not. You're not brandishing a gun at people and stuff. So, to me, I think stability is good. I mean, you look at the Steelers, you look at the Ravens, right? But it's got to go hand in hand. Ownership has to be willing to place the money in to allow coaches to be successful, right? There are a lot of owners that Jerry Jones is one, right? He will pump in the money, but he wants say. He wants to meddle in everything. And that's why the Cowboys, since Jimmy Johnson left, hasn't been really good. I mean, they haven't been dominant because Jimmy knew how to handle. I mean, him and Jerry were college buddies, and he knew how to handle them. And then after a while, he got tired of it and said, I'm going to Fox. I don't have to deal with this crap. I've got 3 Super Bowls, right? Shut up. What do you that kind of thing. When owners sometimes are, the Maras from the Giants, they're pretty much hands off. They'll pump in the money, but they're not going to meddle saying, you got to do this, we got to do this, those kind of things. The Browns think they know it all. I mean, I'm talking about the Bengals Browns, Mike Browns. I mean, he thinks he knows it all. So he is not going to pump in the money to bring in fantastic players all the time. He'll spend, he will spend the money. That's ever since Katie and them have taken over, they have spent money. You cannot say they have not spent money.
They have, usually a year too late.
A year too late, right. But they have spent money.
Or spend more. No, I don't think we can. They haven't been cheap on the player front, but they're still cheap everywhere else.
Right. And they don't diversify, right? So
they don't.
It's like they put all their eggs.
6 scouts and
they put all their eggs in the offensive side right now. And okay, you've got it in Jamar, you've got it in Joe, and you've got it in T, but you've got the Rolls Royces there, and then you've got the Honda Civics trying to lead the way, in the offense. They're not paying anybody big dollars, right? I mean, Dalton Reisner was one of the best guards in the NFL, and he wants to come back.
Yeah.
But he said, well, I haven't had any contact with, I haven't had any conversations with them. That, they know I want to come back, but I'll leave it up to my agent and them to figure it out. And he's willing to take a pay cut to come back.
Right. And he was solid.
He was ranked in the top, I think, 25 of guards, overall guards. I mean,
yeah. And that's all we've ever been asking for out of the offensive line is just be top half.
Right.
You don't have to be elite.
And the defense just somewhere in the
15,
10 to 15, 20, range. We're in
just
the Super Bowl.
30th.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
All right. So enough of the Cincinnati things. Let's let's answer this question here. Are teams actually building when they're firing coaches and trying to hire, or are they just trying to guess faster and say, I think a new guy can make this work better than you, so you're gone. I'm going to bring in somebody else.
It depends on the team.
Okay.
It does. Like the Browns are that example. We're not going to change anything that we're actually doing. We're just going to bring in a new guy and see if he can work better. I think the Raiders are that way.
Yeah,
I think the Cardinals are that way. I think the Titans are going to end up being that way. It's going to take a special coach to win at those places.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Whereas, Baltimore, I think, is a little more they'll be a little more flexible. They bring in an offensive guy, they'll tailor it a little more that way versus a defensive guy, or, Pittsburgh, just historically, they're going to be a defensive guy. That's just how they operate. But I think they would be more flexible if they had to be. Like, say Flores said no to them, all the top defensive guys said no. I don't know.
Well, let's just say Mike McDaniel decides to come, takes the job, right? So he's supposed to be this offensive guy, right? So say he took the job, even though
they would change how they do things to have their head coach be successful. They would. I don't think necessarily the city of Pittsburgh or their Steelers fans would like changing that identity. But they would start pumping more money into the offense. They put more money in the offense than the defense. Whereas, the other teams I mentioned, they're not doing that.
You're right.
They're stuck in their ways, even though they're losing ways.
All right. First of all, if you made it this far, we want to say thanks. We appreciate it. Go ahead and hit that like button if you like it. Subscribe if you would like to subscribe. Share this with all your NFL friends, and the more that you do that, the more that we can grow, and we really do appreciate that. So
I have one question for you though. So Coaching Carousel adjacent, why in the NFL do we not see guys jump from team to team like we do in college? I can't remember the last head coach that was under contract somewhere that then
it happened
went somewhere else.
2 years ago, didn't it?
Head coach to head coach?
Yeah, because they had to give up a draft pick. Who was that?
See, I guess my question is then why doesn't it happen more? Because
draft picks are capital. I mean, you don't.
Yeah.
Because usually people are going to require a first or second round pick, and those are gold, right? If it's a 6th or 7th round pick, you can take Zach Taylor for a 6th or 7th round pick, right? I mean, but I can't remember who it was. It was somebody.
Because I know Gruden was way back in the day.
Yeah, Gruden was back in the day. Belichick, those type of. Yeah. But I thought there was somebody just who left and they owed them a draft pick. It doesn't matter. We'll look it up for next week. Yeah. But so one final prediction here, and if you want to call it a hot take, we can do that too. But one hire out of the 4 or out of the 10. I know we don't have the other 6, but one hire that succeeds fast. Like boom, they hired. They're going to succeed right away. One hire that flames out. It might not be right away, but it might be like, a Stefanski, right? Or McDaniel. He just flamed out over time. And then one franchise that will regret firing or letting their coach leave.
So I'm going to start with the last one. It's the Browns. They're going to regret that they fired Stefanski just because I don't know who they're going to get. I don't think they're going to get anybody worth anything.
Okay.
Go into that situation. So I think they're going to regret that. What was the first one, Coach? Most immediate success?
One hire that succeeds fast.
I think it's whoever takes the Buffalo job, whoever ends up getting that job. Just because Josh Allen, the Jets and Dolphins are going to suck. So you're really going to have to worry about the Patriots. I think at worst, you're a wild card team your first year. You're going to compete for the division just because you have Josh Allen. Pittsburgh, if they hire Flores, would be another option. With that cap, it has to be Flores. And what was the second one again?
One that's going to flame out. That might be a great hire. Everybody's might be great right now. Harbaugh? Do you?
I think it's Harbaugh. I think it'll end up playing out like Dable. I think year one, I think they're going to be excited. They might not be a playoff team, but I think they'll be the popular pick going into the 2027 season, 2 years from now. And then I think I think it'll plateau because I don't believe in Jackson Dart. I think you can maybe get one good year out of him, but he's a guy that's going to be injured all the time because he is dumber than a box of rocks. And when your quarterback is as dumb as he is, you can't win. You just can't. You can't. I mean, the dude was in concussion protocol like over half of his games because he just, like, what's the point? Like, you're putting yourself in concussion protocol in week 16 when you're 2-13. That's stupid. It's tough to win with a quarterback like that. I think you can get 1 year where he stays relatively healthy and it looks pretty good.
Well, there's two that I think that will succeed fast, right? I think Harbaugh and Stefanski are the two that will succeed fast. What does that look like? For the Falcons, maybe a wild card. The Giants, a wild card.
You could win that division with 8 wins.
You could. I think Harbaugh, like you said, he's going to have success, but he's going to build from the inside out, right? He's going to get that line, both offensive, defensive line, protect Jackson Dart. He's going to tell Jackson Dart, we're going to work with you to make sure that you are staying in the pocket, doing some things, not taking the hits necessary. One hire that's going to flame out, I think it's Richard Saleh from Tennessee. I just think Robert Saleh. I think they're excited about him, defensive minded. Maybe he changes something, but the Jets were excited about him too. He was good, and then it just right. And to me, I really think that the Bills are going to regret firing McDermott. I do. I know 9 years, didn't make the playoffs. Josh Allen, 7 of those years. But I think they're going to regret him because the next coach comes in, he might be demanding more. He might be doing this. He might not be a Western New Yorker and not fit in. I just think that's going to happen. So there you have it. This is why the coaching carousel matters, right? It's not about the names and press conference. It's about direction. It's about identity. It's about whether a franchise is serious or just surviving. Some of these teams made smart, patient decisions. Some chased headlines, and a few of them are about to find out the wrong hire just doesn't cost you. This doesn't cost you a season. It costs you years. Now we want to hear from you. Which job would you take if you were a head coach? Which franchise is broken beyond coaching? And which hire do you already hate out of the 4? Drop it in the comments. We'll read them all. We'll answer to you. We even maybe invite you on for an episode. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss what we're building here. Next week, if you want to stay tuned, because we're having some guests on, and we are doing an all-time NFL draft. That's right. We are going to build an NFL team, 11 offensive, 11 defensive, from all time. Snake draft. Don't want to miss it. So this is Cincinnati Sports Scene Podcast. Take care, everybody. See you next time.
See you.